This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
The final of the CAF Champions League kicks off in the next hour in Morocco. Record Egyptian winners Ahly face surprise finalist Kaizer Chiefs of South Africa in the showdown for the biggest prize in African club football. Tonight's sports scene takes you to the heat of the battle as the countdown to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics continues. Hello and welcome to your weekly sports program that brings you all the sporting news and reviews from an African perspective. We will highlight the thrill of victory while also showing you the agony of defeat. I'm Richard Nta in Nairobi. This is Sports Scene. Put on your seatbelts, buckle up, get ready, let's get started. Here's what's coming up in the show. We'll tell you the story of Kenya's women's volleyball team. The Malkia Strikers return to the Olympics for the first time since the 2004 Athens Summer Games. Welcome into Sports Scene. Let's talk a bit of football. Egyptian fans have put on their Ahly jerseys and readied their flags and drums preparing for the CAF Champions League finals. Now, while some fear a surprising performance from the finals debutantes Kaizer Chiefs, most Red Devil fans are confident that their club will make an unprecedented victory to win a 10th title. Here's CGTN's Ahly, who has been following the fans' preparations in Cairo. Let's take a look.
The biggest African club's football night is here. Ahly, the #1 CAF Champions League final winners, are facing Kaizer Chiefs, a team that has never reached the continental final before. Both teams are 4,500 kilometers away in the host country Morocco. Yet in Egypt, fans are more excited about the game. Cairo's Red Devils are in for Al-Ashira, led Decima, a record 10 African titles.
We, the Al-Ahly fans and the former Ultras group, are super excited. Al-Ahly has a wide fan base, strong players, good management and a strong coaching team. Al-Ahly has all it needs to make us happy tonight. We will be celebrating twice, Al-Ahly's victory and the Eid.
We want Al-Ahly to play a good game and to give an enjoyable show. We are anxiously waiting to see Afsha and Nasser Maher play. God willing, they'll come back with a trophy. This is our most favorite title.
Saturday's game is the 13th Champions League final for Al-Ahly and the 5th in just 10 years. This strong record is making fans here believe that winning the 2021 title is just 90 minutes away. Hours ahead of the game, they've put on their jerseys and are waiting to celebrate.
I am going to make a tombola for my friends. Each will predict the game score and the winner will get a gift. Last year, only one of our group of 14 predicted the right score. The same is happening tonight. We are even going to get dressed in the same clothes.
Me and all my friends who've watched last year's finals are gathering today. We are going to the same CAF with the same people. Any other people who want to join, they won't be allowed. We want to revive the same lucky spirit of the 9th title. After we win tonight, we'll start dreaming about the 11th title.
The Amakusi, however, have reached this final defying many odds. They can't be taken lightly. Al-Ahly lovers have been reserving tables at cafes hours before the game. This is the closest they'd get to a stadium feel, and the most dedicated to the team always want the best seat.
We arrived early to find a good table. We are 3 families watching the game tonight. I'm not a summer fan, but for Al-Ahly, I'm staying hours in the sun. For the team, I'll do anything. The place here is very popular and it will be super crowded at night.
Fans here are already planning their post-match celebrations, so a defeat from Kaizer Chiefs would be a major disappointment. But if Al-Ahly manages to extend its dominance over the Champions League trophy, fans will be witnessing one of the biggest celebrations they've ever dreamed of. Adil Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.
Well, Kaizer Chiefs fans across South Africa are delighted with their team playing for the biggest prize in African football after their surprise qualification to the CAF Champions League finals. Now, one particular fan is even backing the Amakosi to stun Ahly and claim the title in Morocco. CGTN CS Duplessis has more.
Tulani Ngobo regards himself as the ultimate Kaizer Chiefs fan and has been supporting the team known as the Glamour Boys since he was a child.
You know, this team, I supported it when I was still 7 years old because of, my uncles, at home. One uncle was supporting Kaizer Chiefs, one was supporting Pirates. And then back then, Kaizer Chiefs was playing a very good football, with the likes of Dr. Kumalos, Teenage Dazas and Skara Tintoas. So I've supported them because of, I love their style of play.
The 40-year-old statistician wrote his name into the record books over a decade ago, and since then his incredible record has stood firm.
Back in 2010, I managed to attend 38 FIFA World Cup matches, and I broke the world record. The initial record was 20 games attended, so I had to take it to 38 games. This year, 2021, it was my anniversary, 11th year anniversary as a world champion. So I'm very proud of myself, that, even though Bafana Bafana didn't do well then, but at least I managed to raise the flag high for myself.
The South African football rivalry has historically been contested by 3 teams, but only 2 can claim to have conquered the continent, and Ngobo is hoping that will change this weekend.
In South Africa, there are 3 big teams, Sundowns, Chiefs and Pirates, and it's only Chiefs that doesn't have a star. We have to represent, the Southern Africa in a good way. So I'm very proud of my boys, and it will be a very, very, very exciting moment, for us to win this one.
The world record holder is confident his team will triumph and gives his prediction ahead of kickoff in Morocco.
It's going to be a tough one. That one, it's going to be 2-1 to Kaizer Chiefs. Parker's going to score, and Nekovic is going to score. But it's 2-1. I'm not sure on the other side. Maybe it can be an own goal, but I don't know. But are we going to beat Ahly? And this is the chance for this generation of Kaizer Chiefs, to win us, a star. If you win a star in South Africa or in Africa, you are the best.
The Kaizer Chiefs superfan lives on a quiet street in the South African capital of Pretoria and is flanked by neighbours who support rival clubs. And despite the fact that his neighbours will be supporting Pitso Mosemane's Ahly, it will be the Amakosi that emerged victorious in Morocco with the continental bragging rights and African club football's biggest prize. CS Duplessis, CGTN, Pretoria, South Africa.
For more on the CAF Champions League, we are delighted to be joined by the one and only Adel Al-Mahroui. Adel, thank you. Welcome to Sports Scene. We are counting the minutes before kickoff. What is the mood like in Cairo?
It's amazing. I mean, we've been here in this place in Al Nasr club in Cairo, where fans have stationed. Al Ahly fans are all over this facility. We're talking about an estimated 2,000 people are following the match here. There are 5 mega screens. One of them is behind me, scattered across the club, and everyone has been seated from hours, as you've seen in my story, taking their seats, taking their positions, and excitedly waiting for the match. So there is excitement. It is going to be a legendary or a historic result, no matter what the outcome is. Al Ahly is there for a 10th title, an amazing record, an extension to the club's dominance over the CAF Champions League. Also, if Kaizer Chiefs win, it will be also an inspiring story, and also making history as snatching the title in its first appearance in the final. So in any way, people are anticipating an exciting game, and this is what they're here for, to watch an enjoyable football game. Richard?
Well, I can't wait. Adel, the fans are ready. CAF is ready. Both teams are gearing up, and they are ready. Where do you think this game will be won or lost?
Well, it is very hard to tell. We know for sure that winning and losing about this game exceeds any expectations. Both of them have met only once, and that was about 14 or 15 years ago. So there isn't any indication, any statistics, anything that would suggest the wins and the losses about today's game, especially that the Amakosi have managed so far to surpass any expectation. They've managed to reach the final despite all odds and all major teams that they have playing against. Ahly, of course, they have the experience, and they have Pitsu Mosimane, a man who knows the Kaizer Chiefs very well and has been playing against them for many times. This might give them an advantage. But wins and loses, I think today, in general, Africa is going to win, because as I told you earlier, no matter what the score comes out, this will be a unique result, and it will be making history in African football.
All right, Adel, let's talk about inspiration for a second. How would an unlikely Kaizer Chiefs win tonight impact African football?
Well, it will definitely confirm what we've been working on and witnessing throughout the past year, since Africa has resumed its last year's version of the CAF Champions League and continuing with this new season that we are seeing ending now. It will confirm that without fans, the concept of having home and away games are no longer valid. And many analysts have been pointing out that one of the main results that we've been seeing in the quarterfinal example of this season, we've been seeing first-timers a lot, and we've been seeing small teams in perspective winning against giants who have solidified their presence in African football. And that's mainly because without the power of fans that inflict fear in the opponent's team, small teams or teams that have never managed to make it to the final like Kaizer Chiefs can play with confidence. There aren't any massive interference in their performance with the team.
All right, Adel, we're not going to let you go just like that. I'd like to put you on the hot seat. Tell us what you think the final scores will be.
It's really, really hard to tell, Richard. I would definitely favor my team's side, Ahly, of course. Egyptians adore Ahly, and making a 10th title is sort of a pride for Egyptians. Whenever I'm passing and waiting for you to talk to me here in the live, people passing by with an Ahly jersey, they would tell me, wait until we win. You will see celebrations that you've never seen before. So I think Ahly can have it. There's a strong defense line for the Emakusi, but with Pitsu Mosimane on board, Ahly has a knowledge advantage. Pitsu Mosimane can give Ahly the know-how of how to beat the Kaizer Chiefs, and therefore I believe Ahly would win. It might be a 1-0 victory. This is my guess, and I'll maybe take a bet on that one.
Okay, let's take a bet. I believe in inspiration, so I think Kaizer Chiefs will win 2-1. Let's leave it there. Adel Al-Mahroui breaking it all down for us. Thanks a lot. Many thanks. And now let's take a brief look at the profiles of tonight's CAF Champions League finalists. And plenty more to come on Sports Scene. The action continues, still to come. The story of Kenya's women's volleyball team, the Malkia Strikers, returned to the Olympics for the first time since the 2004 Athens Summer Games.
How would you create your legend? On the fields, on the tracks, in the arenas of Africa. Were you born to be a player? Could this moment be yours? Sports Scene. Find your game.
You're watching Sports Scene. Thanks for staying with us. The International Olympic Committee has admitted that it was aware of skepticism within Japan about staging the Tokyo Olympics during a pandemic, but is hoping success on the field of play for the host nation could change the mood. The games will be held without spectators and amid COVID-19 safety measures, while the Japanese public remains largely opposed to the event amid a resurgence of infections and concern that an influx of international visitors could turn the Tokyo Olympics into a super spreader event. The comment came on the same day when the first positive case within the athletes' village was found. The IOC had been hoping it would stay clean as proof that the games could be held in a safe environment.
Of these 15, only 15 I may say, were tested positive at their arrival or during screening tests. So this is a very low rate of 0.1%. It goes without saying that all the concerned people were immediately isolated, and in this way they do not pose any risk.
Kenya women's volleyball team, locally known as Malkia Strikers, is set to return to the Olympics for the first time since the Athens Summer Games. After coming 11th in back-to-back editions in Sydney 2000 and Athens 2004, the class of Tokyo 2020 is aiming at finishing among the top 4 in Pool A to make the quarterfinals. CGTN's Daniel Arap-Moy has the details.
The start of a new century came with good tidings for Kenya women's volleyball team, the Malkia Strikers, when they made their Olympic debut at the Sydney 2000 Games. The record 9-time African champions then returned to the Olympics in Athens 2004. That was as good as it got, as they missed the next 3 editions of Beijing 2008, London 2012 and Rio 2016. After 5 years of decline since winning their last continental title in 2015, the Malkia Strikers have stormed back to the top of the African game. However, their return to the Olympics was delayed by another year due to the global pandemic. Head coach Paul Bitok now says they are ready to make up for lost time.
Yes, I'm happy with the squad that we have now because it is balanced. I have experienced players and I have the young ones. If the young ones will manage to have good results or continue playing well, giving us results without any problem, then we will use the young ones. But if they will face some problem, I believe that the experienced players that we have are enough to calm the young ones.
Despite everything looking up for the African champions, the squad is still trying to cope with the harsh conditions brought about by the pandemic. The planned trip to Brazil in March for intensive training was quashed by the coronavirus crisis in that country. Malkia Strikers were also forced to train without build-up matches due to strict isolation rules.
COVID imetuaffect sana.
COVID-19 has really affected us with regards to preparing for the Olympics because we're used to training for long periods of time and socializing, but now we don't even have a friendly match to check on our match fitness.
In April, a team of coaches seconded by world body FIVB arrived from Brazil to help the team prepare for Tokyo. Their training method and advanced performance monitoring helped Kenya select a balanced squad of youth and experience for Japan.
The main objective of the project with FIVB and National Federation of Volleyball of Kenya is to give the volleyball team the same conditions as other national teams that will be playing in the Olympics.
The Malkia Strikers were the first Kenyan team to depart for Japan, where they will round off their training in Kurume City before traveling to Tokyo. They will feature in Pool A, where they will take on European champions and Rio 2016 silver medalist Serbia, 2-time Olympic winners Brazil, host Japan, South Korea and the Dominican Republic. Daniel Arap-Moy, CGTN.
The Tunisian men's volleyball team are Africa's only male representatives at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Their qualification coming in a pandemic year is one of the continent's best sporting achievements. CGTN's Adnan Chouachi brings us more.
Tunisia's volleyball team conceded a third defeat to Spain 3-1 at the fourth and final friendly played in Rades. The matches are part of a joint warm-up for the Tokyo Olympic Games. Tunisia beat Spain once during the preparation in the capital city Tunis. Head coach Jacob Antonio declared that playing in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic is very challenging.
Yeah, we are in preparation. This is the first the first time that we start now, and we are working with Spain. Spain is a very strong team, and it is a good occasion for us to receive information for the job that we need for the future. We are not in normal situation, and okay, but we have to adjust because all the team in the world are in this situation.
Tunisia volleyball squad captain says the team will face Italy, Cuba, Venezuela and play dozens of friendly matches before the Summer Olympics.
The preparation of the Summer Olympic Games is underway. This camp with the Spanish team is a chance to test all the Tunisian team players. The coach will then decide who stays and who leaves the squad. We have an upcoming camp in Paris, then we'll face more teams at home. Finally, we'll head to Poland to take part in the high-level tournament to improve our performance for the Tokyo Olympics.
Tunisian Volleyball Federation has invited young players from different clubs to join the national team's training camp.
Following our qualification for the Olympics, the Volleyball Federation and the technical staff opted for the strategy of involving young players. That's how we can ensure a bright future for Tunisian volleyball.
According to the International Volleyball Federation, due to the global pandemic crisis, events taking place outside of the official national team season calendar dates will exceptionally count towards the senior world ranking in 2021.
The Tokyo Games is Tunisia's 7th qualification for the Summer Olympics and a record for Africa and the Arab region. The Tunisia volleyball squad now ranks 17th in the world and hopes to improve its ranking. Adnan Shawishi, CGTN, Tunis.
For the first time ever, an African woman is penned to referee the table tennis competition at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics in yet another sporting milestone for the continent. However, lockdown restrictions in South Africa due to the third coronavirus wave may stop Genevieve Lentz from achieving her dreams. CGTN's Mohammed Abubakar reports.
History will be made on the 24th of this month when the table tennis program of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics serves off. South Africa's Genevieve Lentz will become the first referee from Africa to officiate at the competition that has attracted 172 entries from 24 nations. Her participation in Tokyo will mark a milestone in the male-dominated sport that lacks funding. The only internationally qualified female table tennis referee in the continent credits her success to the changing policies in table tennis brought by the International Olympics Committee.
The IOC has a quota in terms of how many men and women participate at the Olympics and also in terms of representation of countries, but more specifically boiling down to the point of gender equity. And so I think that many federations, sporting federations, specifically table tennis, has kind of aligned themselves to what the IOC policies and stipulations are for the Olympic Games.
In Tokyo, she'll be the only woman on the 3-member team of referees. Lentz has worked hard and made many sacrifices to progress from being an umpire to an international referee. She has loads of international experience, including umpiring at the London 2012 Olympics, Singapore 2010 Youth Olympics and Beijing 2008 Paralympics. Lentz tips China, who have produced gold winners in the last 3 Olympics, to dominate in Tokyo.
China's always been the leaders in terms of table tennis. Every championship, every event, they dominate the sport. And they're very good at it, all of their players, and they're very disciplined. And so they are the leaders in the sport, and I think the whole world looks up to them. And we always have an inside joke where we always say, oh, we know that the finals is going to be China.
Lentz, a university lecturer, only works part-time as a referee. She is making headlines at home because of her achievements and says table tennis remains her passion since it has allowed her to travel the world. However, despite being vaccinated, Lentz is concerned about going overseas during the pandemic. She is also worried that the current coronavirus lockdown level 4 restrictions in South Africa could prevent her from making it to the Games.
And so there's lots of uncertainty. I mean, I myself at this point don't really know if harsher restrictions should come, whether I'd be able to travel to Johannesburg.
Lentz is due to travel to Tokyo on the 20th of July if all goes to plan. Mohammed Abubakar, CGTN.
Jean-Pierre Bourhis is the only competitor who will represent Senegal and Africa in canoe kayaking at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The young rower chose the Czech city of Prague to prepare for Japan, where he took part in the 7th edition of the World Cup Slalom Canoe Kayak held last month. CGTN's Joy Karuki reports.
With days to go before the start of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, Jean-Pierre Bourhis is ready for the ultimate challenge. The Senegalese rower has been based in the Czech capital Prague for the build-up to Japan. Here, he has perfected his art that includes bypassing obstacles, including doors or poles. Despite challenges brought by the global pandemic, Jean-Pierre is satisfied with his preparation so far.
COVID-19 has changed the planning of national selections. Until now, we have had very few races to train and prepare for the Olympic Games. So it will be difficult for everyone to perform well without having been able to make all necessary adjustments to the races before the competition. But I have to admit that I was lucky enough to train in good conditions and to be able to prepare myself well.
Kayaking is still in its infancy as a sport in Africa. However, it is attracting more and more young rowers across the continent. But for Jean-Pierre, many obstacles remain in the way of popularizing kayaking in Senegal and Africa.
Kayaking is quite a complicated sport. It requires a lot of equipment, including the boat, the paddle, the various skirts and outfits. Another challenge is to create many small kayak clubs and structures in Senegal, whether on the beaches or in the interior of the country on rivers.
Jean-Pierre is a student in mechanical and automatic engineering. He says he has no worries about blending his studies and kayaking, which he is determined to see develop in his country. The youngster has started an ambitious project with the Senegalese Federation of Canoe Kayak. This, he hopes, will position the country as a force when it hosts the 2026 Youth Olympic Games.
We want to produce locally all the material necessary for the practice of kayak in Senegal. We started this project in 2019. The basic material is a convertible canoe kayak which is 3 meters long and will be adapted to the population. I did the 3D realization of the mold myself and will be exported to Senegal. We will therefore start the local production, and this will obviously lower the cost of acquiring the material. If the price of the material is affordable, then I believe it will then attract even more young people to practice kayaking.
A holder of dual French and Senegalese citizenship, Jean-Pierre has been representing Senegal internationally since 2012. He will be featuring at his second Olympics after making his debut in Rio 2016. Having made the semis of 7 international races, his mission in Tokyo is to emulate Benjamin Bokpeti, a Franco-Togolese kayaker who in 2008 rewarded Togo with its very first Olympic medal. Joy Kiruki Juma, CGTN.
Well, that's it for this edition of Sports Scene. Remember, you can send us your feedback to the contacts on the screen and follow us on digital media platforms, and that'll do it. Keep it right here on CGTN. See you again next time. Take care.